viel passiert und sie ging auch wieder viel zu lange. Ja, ich weiß nicht, wie lange die jetzt noch gehen wird, weil ich muss nachher los. Und ja, erstmal die ganzen Informationen verkraften. Und wenn wir bei Informationen sind, hier gibt's doch schon wieder ein Gespräch.
Kisara? Anyone at home in there?
Sorry. Did I look distracted?
Among other things. To be entirely honest, I couldn't tell whether you were smiling or frowning.
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
That obvious, huh? I was just thinking how good it is to see him moving forward at last. It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just put his mind to it. A prisoner trapped in a cage of his own self-doubt. But now, he's finally beginning to spread his wings. I'm happy for him.
So, then why do you look so sad?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It's good and strange, knowing that he won't be needing me anymore. It probably sounds weird, doesn't it? I have this massive worry off my mind. I should be jumping up and down for joy, right?
Must be that maternal instinct of yours at work.
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child takes his first shaking and nervous flight from the nest.
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it. I wouldn't like to see Dohalim's face if he heard you say that. All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a prisoner of my own making like he was. If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too. I won't be left behind.
Wow, diese Augen von Kisara. Mann, Mann, Mann. Und naja, Dohalim wird sie ja auch nicht als Mutter sehen. Aber das weiß sie noch nicht.
thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix, too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegis.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman. And the Renis Alma. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should... What?
Uh-oh.
Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
Aus wie eine blaue Rose.
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegis is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down! You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
Ja, wird auch irgendwie Zeit, dass wir zu dieser Station kommen, die da alles leitet.
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Do you think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
Ah, Shion, just in the nick of time. Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the... Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I overreacted.
Again, Law? Can't you even go a minute without putting your foot in your mouth?
Seriously, it's fine. I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells around me. Besides, I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching you guys, not the other way around.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask. Not being able to touch people, does it ever get lonely sometimes?
I guess I never really thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was, or come undone. Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality, you couldn't even recognize it as loneliness? I don't know how you managed.
It's fine. I know I'm not alone anymore.
But I can't even touch you. No way of lending you a shoulder when you're down? Even Alphen.
I appreciate the concern. Until I get rid of these thorns, I guess I'll have to put up with it just a little longer. But not forever. Alphen promised me that. Maybe it'll be soon, maybe it won't be. But either way, the day will come. And I'll be ready when it does.
Yeah, just hang in there. One day, we'll share a big warm hug. You'll see. I promise. Boo!
Ah! What the? Are you out of your mind? This isn't the time for games, Rinwell!
Oh, come on. How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery like that?
It's called experiencing feelings appropriate to the situation. You ought to try it sometime.
Yeah, but seeing you act all nervous, you're making me start to feel nervous too.
Oh, sorry.
Staying alert is important, but too much caution can cloud your judgment. Try to strike a balance.
I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Someone formidable enough to bring our starship along with us.
They must be here somewhere. Let's find them.
That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like. And then the Danon side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the Wedge and Lenegis?
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it really worth going through all this trouble just to steal Dana's energy?
Try to stay calm. With so many factors we don't understand, dwelling on it won't get us anywhere. What is it?
No, it's just... Zephyr once told me the same thing. So much for me making progress, huh?
You made it this far, didn't you? You notice something, you change it. That's all anyone can do. But you can't stand still in the meantime.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that? It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk!
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of Red Women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh goody, more riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The Red Women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasal, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's Great Spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this Great Spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this Great Spirit be the true Sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this Great Spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's Great Spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed. And it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrecht 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Faisal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out. Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevric 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Have you guys lived up here in Dag Fazel with Hevric 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevric 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrek 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions. Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
Whoa.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astro arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while. Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevric 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over, before we decide on our next move?
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay.
Och nicht schon wieder dieses Trennen mit den Dutzenden Gesprächen.
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot. Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women, no, that the Helganquil made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrek 35 has told us, that is.
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
But if Hevrek 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now. That's all.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together. And if we can't find one, then we'll make a new one. End of story.
Make one, huh? I see. Right then. Count me in.
An dieser Stelle muss ich übrigens sagen, es wäre hier schön, wenn wir noch irgendwie XP, FP oder Geld bekommen. Weil es sind dauernd Gespräche und dabei kann man nicht leveln und wo kommen die ganzen Bewohner jetzt her? Und heilen müssen wir hier auch, hä? Ja, man kann hier halt nicht leveln, was ich ein bisschen schade finde. Wie sollen wir denn stärker werden? Muss ich schon wieder grinden? Stellt sich mir gerade die Frage. Mal gucken.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh, you mean Dohalim, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans, and the Great Spirit, and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So, to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is, well, I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power, and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain, in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dan and mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but Danans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down, and there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah. I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danan and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Everett 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dan is still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memories started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live, and I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do, or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important. what I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis, or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only Blazing Sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why...
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shion? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call, is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Danan, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dana's still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in Rena.
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns' connection thanks to Naori.
Aber hey, solange die Dornen ein Teil des großen Geistes sind, ist das eine Kraft, die er Shion gegeben hat. Und wenn sie sie kontrollieren kann, kann sie ihn auch gegen ihn wenden.
Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevrek 35 our answer.
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally boot-up programs for Lenegis, what about now?
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Renaissance stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it needed us before, it doesn't appear to now.
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell do they think they are?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even factor into their list of concerns.
I just hope everyone on Lenegis is safe.
Worst comes to worst, Lenegis is equipped with a large number of starships the people can escape in. As long as the whole satellite doesn't suddenly explode or something, they should be fine.
Wait, explode?
In any case, if we're truly going to make a difference, it's on Rena we're needed, not Lenegis. The people there will be fine, I'm sure of it.
Right.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience, and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renas Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Renas Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational. It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the Great Astral Spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renis Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns could be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the Great Astral Spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony. Considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed, I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Hevrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Man, is it too much to ask for Hevrek 35 to talk like a normal person? I swear I can feel my brain starting to fry after listening to all that complicated stuff.
Don't worry. I think we're mostly done with him. Now all we have to do is rest up and wait. Once the Fall Knights is good to go again, we'll be taking off for Rena right away. Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit? There has to be another way, right?
Shion's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience, right? Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. But with the amount of energy we're talking about here...
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core, your body wouldn't be able to take the strain of channeling that much energy.
Hevrek 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
You're probably right.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just...
Ja, sie hat
Never
dich mit einem Kosenamen
Thank you,
benannt.
Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I
Aber du
work all
hättest sie
this
jetzt
out.
auch Key nennen können. Ganz, ganz sicher.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all,
Oh, oh, oh,
don't you
oh,
think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Wenn die jetzt an Kinder machen denken, gell? Es ist noch nicht die passende Uhrzeit dafür, ja? Bitte beherrscht euch noch. Was ihr danach macht, bleibt euch überlassen.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Hier war wohl ein kleiner Übersetzungsfehler. Sie hat am Anfang gesagt Rena und nicht Dana. Jetzt heißt es Dana.
But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will... well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were
No,
thinking?
that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Xion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Rena's Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrecht 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen. that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back, you'll use the Blazing Sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the Blazing Sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything
Listen,
that we've...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrek 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, Commando.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand. All right, time to get back on the Fall Knights.
An dieser Stelle, ich hätte gern Nein ausgewählt und würde gern nochmal auf Dena grinden und so, aber
It would appear that our
lassen leider
Helganquil
nicht.
host really has fulfilled its end of the bargain.
You know what that means. Time to go to Rena.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive a spin.
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out everywhere. Is this really where the Helganquil come from?
I don't sense even a trace of astral energy. This world is dead.
Then this must be the hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world, the entire ocean is that stuff?
And it's covering everything. The entire planet.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy, it went after Dana.
So arresting. This world of doom.
Back in its day, Rena was probably just as vibrant as Dana is. But after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea, everything.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude, until their whole world was nothing but this. And by the looks of it, that's how it remains to this day. A world of death and emptiness.
With nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned its sights on Dana, looking for another host.
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dana's going to look like?
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not be spared in the end.
If the oblivion and darkness both Shion and Naori saw comes to pass, nothing will survive. It looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
So this is Rena. This is where everything began. Yet it's a dead world?
A hollowed ocean as far as the eye can see. What do you think would happen if we fell in?
What do you mean, what would happen? You'd drown, wouldn't you?
Come to think of it, I don't believe I've heard of someone ever trying. Perhaps you'd like the glory of being the first?
Nah, I'll pass.
This is essentially a world-sized Renan graveyard. Are you proposing to disturb the dead slumber just to satisfy your curiosity, Law?
No, because I said I passed.
Taking an interest is understandable, but let's not forget where we are. This place deserves our respect.
Looks like we're not going to be hearing the end of this one for a while.
Da sind Eulen in ganz Däne aufgetaucht. Heißt das, ich kann mich teleportieren? Bitte? Ich kann mich teleportieren. Und da sind eine Menge Nebenquests aufgetaucht.
So the idea is to seal the Great Spirit inside the Renas Alma using the Sovereign and Maiden's power. But just how do we do that exactly?
I'm guessing it won't be as easy as holding a spirit channeling ceremony at our leisure.
I already had wielded astral energy once 3 centuries ago. As for suppressing her thorns, Shion's had a lifetime's experience. The problem isn't just our enemy's strength, it's that it's sentient too. And you can bet anything you like it's not going to just sit back and let us destroy it.
In other words, we need to find some way to weaken it in advance. The Great Spirit, that is.
Back when Shion's thorns flew out of control, we were able to deal with them directly. If this is their host, they should be even more corporeal here.
If that's the case, it should make them easier to attack at least. And if we can manage to divert enough energy away from the spirit's core, even temporarily,
we might just be able to weaken it enough to steal the Renas Alma, which we can then use to seal it away forever. It won't be easy, but it's our only shot. Time to buckle up. Question for you. Let's say, knock on wood, everything turns out for the best.
What'll the world be like? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of this, do you really think everything will be that different?
A lot will have to change, that's for sure. The world will have to adjust to so much. My only worry is if those changes turn out to be merely skin deep.
What do you mean?
It's well and good putting an end to Renan rule. But if it just turns the tables, it's all for naught.
That's true. Just as bad if the Danans started pressing their own.
Renans, Danans, astral art users, mages. The world is full of labels used to divide and separate people.
If only we could see differences like that for what they are. No different to someone having a musical talent or being good with their hands. Not differences so much as characteristics.
It will take someone in power to set an example. But with time, people will follow. And then, perhaps one day...
there will no longer be any need for the example. It will have become second nature.
That's where we come in. We can set the example. Imagine it. A world where magic and astral arts are used to help people. Where that's the norm rather than the exception.
Yeah, you're right, Rinwell. Why wait for somebody else? We can show them ourselves.
Ja, wir können uns teleportieren. Dann will ich doch mal wissen, was es jetzt
Finally.
hier für eine Nebenmission gibt. Och nein! Warum tun sie mir das an?
Hey,
Immer diese Nebenmissionen oder diese Gespräche.
Is this about dinner last night? I didn't realize those ingredients were off.
What? No, I mean... Wait, you fed us rotten food?
Rinwell, the point.
Oh, yeah, right. So I was thinking about those armored soldiers we've seen. There are regular Renans inside them, right?
Yeah, they're designed to make whoever's wearing them stronger. At least, I think that's the idea.
Right. So it kind of begs the question then, why are they made so huge?
I don't know, makes them more intimidating, I guess? Or maybe all that tech wizardry inside takes up a lot of space.
You don't think it's weird how the armored soldiers are the exact same height as the Helganquil?
Can't say I'd ever noticed it till now. And?
Connect the dots, Law!
Okay, let me get this straight. You think the armored suits might have originally been designed to allow Renans to work alongside the Helganquil?
Huh. But if that's true, what would that mean?
It would mean... just that, I guess. But still, don't you think it's kind of interesting?
Not... hugely? Hey, Kisara, well, I've got you. What's on tonight's menu? Because I was thinking, maybe meat?
Get him, Hootle.
What did I do?
Oh, now you want to listen. Keep pecking, Hootle!
Ow, ow, ow! Seriously, what the hell? You know, guys, when you think about it, we've taken out a lot of Zeugles. Like, a whole lot.
You can say that again. If one thing's for certain in this world, it's that wherever we go, we'll always end up bumping into them.
Isn't it weird that they're still so plentiful? You don't think the Renans have, like, a ranch where they breed them, do you?
Certainly in all of my years, I've never heard of them constructing such a massive facility on Dana, let alone up in Lenegus.
The only thing I can think of, then, is that the feral ones must be reproducing on their own.
There's also no organized effort on our part to hunt them down, so it's difficult to fully exterminate them.
Exterminate them? Whoa, don't you think that's maybe a little harsh?
What do you mean?
Zeugles originally used to be living creatures native to Dana and Rena, right? Being genetically modified isn't their fault.
You're right. Zeugles were only created because of us Renans. We altered the original creatures to suit our own ends.
First, people made Zeugles, and then we let them go. And now we're trying to kill them because they're a threat. They really have only seen the very worst, huh?
I hope we find a way to be able to live side by side with them one day.
It's a nice thought, but they attack towns and cities. What else are we supposed to do?
Aside from the strays that have gone wild, it's worth remembering that Renans are able to keep them somewhat under control.
If we had distinct territories that didn't overlap, that might reduce the danger they pose.
Well, I guess when you look at it that way, maybe people and Zeugles aren't so different after all.
Yes!
Excuse me!
Hey!
Really now?
What?
I see. Agreed.
Very nice.
Dohalim, the line of researchers is getting longer.
Perhaps I should have put more thought into this before accepting. That was quite the little adventure we went on.
Right!
Leo Temple. Isn't that where Shion was being held?
Wasn't it beautiful? I can't wait for this.
Hey, Law. Been training?
Yeah, I guess I got a little carried away. You think this is bad, you should see the state of my underwear.
Yeah. A word of advice. You might want to refrain from mentioning that stuff around girls. Ones without a military history especially.
Man, can you imagine Rinwell's face? She'd have a nervous breakdown.
I meant in general, but... You sure mention her a lot, you know.
Huh? Oh, you know, she's always there, even when you least expect it. Springs to mind easily.
Either that, or maybe some part of you is subconsciously always wishing she was there.
May the trials and tribulations of young romance never change.
Romance? Like I'd be interested in that know-it-all tomboy. I'm more about mature women. Someone more like Kisara.
You know, I used to be a tomboy too when I was Rinwell's age.
Look, it's not tomboys I have anything against. But come on, you've got to admit she can be a lot to handle.
Hey, I miss anything? What's all the fuss about?
Rinwell.
Thunderblade!
Ah! What the hell was that for?
A little birdie told me you were speaking about me behind my back. Whew!
From the looks of it, I'd say you've got yourself a rival.
It wouldn't be called the Spring of Youth without a little storm every now and then.
Hey, Shion.
Sie können es nicht lassen, immer diese Sprachoption, immer wenn spannend wird.
Sorry, it's just... I don't know, I'm just curious, I guess. I mean, a lot's changed now he's got his senses back and all.
I suppose you're right. Well, to tell you the truth, if he'd been the way he is now back when I'd first met him, I probably wouldn't have gotten this involved. But then, if we hadn't met like we did, then I never would have experienced these feelings, so... I guess... it's complicated.
I can imagine. I know it's not the same thing, but... I know what it feels like to have someone you love who's out of reach.
Because of Miguel.
Alphen's still alive. It's not too late, you know. And after all, who can say what the future holds? I think if I were you, I'd take things as they come for now.
Besides, touch isn't everything. I've never touched you, Xion. But that doesn't stop you from knowing that I care about you, right?
That's true. But I do remember back when we first met, you made it plenty clear you weren't my biggest fan.
But that was a long time ago. There were lots of things I didn't understand back then. Not that that's the point.
Don't worry, I'm only teasing. I know what you mean. Thank you. And you're right. There are ways to convey your feelings besides just touching.
I'll say, cooking immediately springs to mind. And if it's someone's favorite dish, all the better. If there's something on your mind that you want to tell him, why not try appealing directly to his stomach?
You might just have a point. I'll give it a shot.
Uh-oh. If it's Alphen's palate you're appealing to, that doesn't bode well for the rest of us.
Well, friendship is about being supportive. Sometimes we just have to do our best and take one for the team, right?
Mann. Das ist ja grauenhaft jetzt. Was? Was um Himmels
Even after
Willen?
staying here, we never truly got to the bottom of what makes this realm's citizens tick.
Renan and Danon are meaningless distinctions here. To have one's own mind is strictly forbidden. All that matters is blind obedience.
That might be the case now, but it can't always have been like that. There must have been something more.
Once, maybe. Question is that something still salvageable?
If it's not, we'll just have to make something new. No, not we. They've had enough foisted on them as it is.
You're right. It's time the people here had the chance to forge their own path. That's not to say it'll be easy, but it will be worthwhile.
These things take time to... What the... An ambush?
Sorry. There was a huge flying bug and I sort of shot without thinking.
A bug? You mean like a Zoogle?
Something tells me she would have shot it, whether it was a Zoogle or not.
This realm is teeming with humid forests. It's only natural insects would feel more at home here than Menancia. In fact, I seem to recall reading somewhere that bugs around these parts lay their eggs in human food to ensure healthy incubation.
Sounds like they're tougher than they look.
What about you, Alphen? Bugs don't creep you out?
I wouldn't say I was their #1 fan. Mind you, if times get desperate enough, I've been known to eat them.
Insects as a culinary option, you say? What kind of seasoning are we talking?
Dohalim. I don't think he was talking about cooking them.
Hey, a lizard!
Always good to be back in familiar territory.
Oh.
Just great.
Cheers!
Cheers!
What?
Nice try, you two.
Never.
Wait. Something's wrong.
I I couldn't catch it.
Oh no. This is...
I'm alone.
What can I do to get her to snap out of it? Oh, I've got...
Alvin?
Shion, you're not alone. You've got all of us. And it wasn't just one bouquet either. There's also this one from me. So please, we'll fight this together.
You dummy! That's not what I was upset about. How many times do I need to tell you not to blindly rush into things? That said, it does make me feel better. Even if your bouquet is just a weapon named after one.
I'm just glad I could help. And I made another one to go with it, so...
You never cease to amaze me, Alphen.
Feeling better now, Shion?
I'm sorry I lost my cool like that.
Don't worry. It's not like I have any room for criticism.
Being a grown-up isn't easy, is it?
Wow, noch mehr Schaden.
Always good to be back in familiar territory. I never realized before just how hot this place is. It's like being inside a fire.
You're only just noticing? Ah, yes, forgive me. The whole lack of sensory feedback situation.
That's the one. It's hard to believe I once worked in this soup, let alone helped spearhead a revolution.
And all with the mask concealing your face. It must have been very grimy beneath that.
Back then, we had our plates full enough dealing with constant abuse from our Renan overlords. It never occurred to me the air itself was oppressive in its own way. My head spinning just with the effort it takes to walk.
I think that's called heat stroke. You might want to take a sip of water.
You mean that water that's been festering under the sun for days? I wouldn't chance it without boiling it first.
Oh, I know! I'll go to the dock and fetch us some clean water.
Water alone won't suffice. He'll need to ensure his sodium levels are replenished as well.
In that case, let's see if we can rustle up some rock salt. Alphen, you go cool off in the shade for a while. Shion, stay and keep an eye on him.
And then there were two.
Bit of an overreaction, but it's still kind of them.
Maybe it's not the time, but this place brings back memories.
I know what you mean. We're back where it all started.
You don't ever regret meeting me sometimes, do you?
Are you kidding? You started all of this. Bringing down the wall, retrieving my sense of self. I have no regrets.
Welcome back, Law.
Hey.
Yes.
Just great.
How's this?
Got it.
Hey!
All right.
Hey, she's pretty cute.
Who are you looking at? Quit gawking and let's go.
Ow!
Ich weiß, ich müsste in die 3. Etage, aber ja, ich hatte mich ein bisschen gespoilert bezüglich der Eulen. Entsprechend, ja, bin ich mal kurz hier.
Do you sense one of your friends, Hoodle?
Gut, damit habe ich allerdings nicht gerechnet. No, sie lassen mich nicht damit zufrieden. Naja.
That treasure. What a sweet sounding ring it has.
You really think so?
Hey, Alfred, what do you think of that chick over there?
Doesn't look like she really works out.
I'm not talking about her muscles, you dummy!
Hey. Hey! Yes!
Right.
Sure.
I don't believe this. Ah!
Okay, great.
Good. Nice work. Ah!
But this is...
Wow.
This is
Yes!
Oh!
amazing!
Nice work. Very nice.
Thanks.
Yes!
Okay!
That was quite the little adventure we went on.
Hey.
Yes. Oh.
Yay! What? Yeah!
Yes.
Yeah!
We avoided getting roasted in that ring. But what we could really use is something to cap this off.
Sure. Got any ideas on what would be good?
Mabo curry. Fried bread stuffed with curry.
You'd probably buy out the whole stock.
We finally made it.
Looks like we get to sleep with a roof over our heads.
Das ist nicht Ihr Ernst. Alter. Neue Waffen. Neue Waffen. Und... ja, Eisenpfeife. Hä? Ich glaube, Eisenpfeife ist ein Artefakt. Blauer Schild? Ja, den können wir doch schon machen. Den können wir doch schon machen. Ja, jetzt ein Loch. Ich hab kein Geld mehr. Nein! Brandschuppe? Ja, es gibt neue Waffen. Es gibt leider neue Waffen. Was soll ich dazu sagen? Dann gucken wir uns noch diese Nebenmission an. Und neue, also die Gegenstände vermute ich dann mal. Es wird sie dann sicherlich ja auf Rena geben.
I hear a voice.
Aber
Somebody's asking for
ich
help.
hab halt auch kein Geld mehr.
Hopefully it's nothing that'll...
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. I guess... Thanks.
Huh?
Well... All right.
All right.
I guess. Got it.
Ja, ich glaube so, das wird jetzt das letzte so ziemlich sein, was ich jetzt noch mache. Oder zumindest versuche. Wir gucken mal.
You finally made it.
Aber immer wieder schön.
I think Hoodle senses something.
Oh ja, da war noch was. Hudel! Kann ich euch noch zeigen? Wenn nicht diese Steine. Auch nicht diese Steine. Aber dort müssen wir hin.
No choice.
Raging Cascade!
As impressive as always.
And here I hoped I was improving.
Over so soon?
The design of this equipment is really interesting.
You must really like... Get Alphen.
Who?
I see you've got your relics all lined up again. What are you doing? Huh? They're so bright now.
Oh, it's you two. I was merely tending to my collection.
Don't you think you've polished them enough by now?
You take better care of your relics than you do yourself.
I try to take good care of them. However, no matter how much work I put in, it refused to respond.
I thought you could hear their voices somehow.
I can, but that's all I can do with them. I can't actually engage in conversation with them. Not yet.
What are they saying? Did they really want you to polish them that much?
You're right. I was so enraptured with them, I may have selfishly failed to consider their own wishes. I must open my mind and sincerely engage with them in earnest.
He never gets tired of his relics, does he?
Nope. It is interesting to look at them when they're all lined up together like this, though. Like how these two have similar designs. It makes me wonder if they were made in the same period.
An excellent observation. Yes, I too suspect they're somehow intimately related as well.
I don't see what you two are talking about at all.
What's this? Why, that smear wasn't there previously. Could it be responding to my voice at long last? It's rather viscous and has a distinct aroma to it.
Hoodle! These relics are no place for you to do your business. Whew! I'm serious! These are priceless pieces of history!
Come on, Dohalim. Let's go wash your hands before you catch anything weird.
This shall be a feast for the senses.
Is this the barrier that's keeping the Zoogle in that Nath mentioned?
Looks like it. Our Zoogle pal should be on the other side.
This barrier is weird. It looks old and half-finished. Plus, he said it was okay to break.
I mean, we won't need it anymore once the Zoogle's gone, right? So what does it matter? Did they really think that barrier was enough for a Zoogle like that?
It was. That thing was sturdier than you give it credit for.
Really? So that's the Zoogle, huh? This should be a piece of cake.
Don't get careless, Law.
Yikes! Don't make eye contact with it!
Geht 53.
We're in for a long slog with this one.
Bet that shell's hiding something tasty. Shatter up! Pieces! It's almost too strong. Then I'll split it open!
Be my guest.
Burn! Dragon Form!
Can't get out of this! I owe you one for that.
Armor won't save you!
It looks like you got this one covered. Where are you going? Further blow! Please now. I'll heal you all.
Shattering up pieces! Attack time!
I'm ready to go. Healing circle. Leave the enemy's arc to me. Glacial spear.
No complaint here!
Thank you for all your help. Please, don't let me. I'm glad to know someone got my back.
No
A wailing Banshee of lightning. I'm here.
You picked the wrong fight.
Tiger blade. By the power of disasters made one. Finish without a trace.
Dragon Form.
I'm ready to go.
One more time. Explosion.
I'm ready to go.
Not
like this.
You'll pay for that!
There you go. Freeze Lancer. I'll bring you back from death to bit. Goodbye. Freeze Hold on to your heart. Here I come.
Dragon Form!
Lunar corruption.
in pain.
Lunar blast. Lightning orb. Raging cascade. Fred, I'll bring you back from Magic Kazam. Freeze Lancer. You get dead. And air thrust. I'm ready. This one's mine.
Anything in armor is all mine. Here, let me help.
I'll bring you back from death to the wind. Air thrust. This one's mine. Here's the healing
Dragon Form!
You require a hand.
Piercing roar.
Can't get out of this!
Wheelor. Outstanding form. I'll be saving this one.
Far enough.
Lightning. First. Up and at 'em. Let's go.
Let's keep up the pressure.
Now, falling freely!
Take it down.
Shattering up pieces! Attack time! Dragon Form!
Lunar arc.
A wailing Banshee of lightning.
I can carve through armor.
Water. Hear my call. Here's the
Let me help. Beast assault.
Freeze Lancer.
How do you like being pounded into shape?
I'm going to use all the power of my healing.
I'm ready.
Let's go with this. That's gonna smart.
Their arcs were interrupted. I'll take you all on. Ha! Flare Demolitor!
all mine. My head's spinning just watching you. I can carve through armor. Flaming meteor. Now or never. No further.
Air thrust. Arch required. Far beyond the darkest
Nothing gets by me.
All of meteor. Here's evil.
How about this?
Here's a hero.
The flame inside me.
Amazing.
Tiger blade.
Illuminate the
Power. It's go time.
One more.
Inferno Dragon Swarm. Take this. This one's armor won't save you.
Gemini Aqua.
Can't get out of this. No. Get here.
Don't give up. Feel. This will come in handy.
Flaming meteor.
Lightning condense. Burning strike.
I'm ready to go.
I can do this all day. Here, let me help.
All right. Let me out.
Magic Dance. Holy Lance.
Hurricane
Between heaven and earth.
Lightning. Ready and waiting. Not today.
Feel. Out of it. Astral energy. Full throttle. Go. Let me show
Now
you
or
what
never.
my art can do. Rising sun.
Dragon Swarm.
With astral
Can't
energy.
get out of this.
Tiger blade. Coming through.
So now you're getting serious?
I never miss. It's here.
It's on.
Made one. Come forth. The healing
Denied.
purity.
Here it comes.
Focus. On your toes, everyone.
Dragon Swarm.
To accomplish this.
Lightning strike. Piercing.
I can't hold on much longer.
On guard.
I'm all
Is this it?
Illuminate.
There. You have to hold on. Dragon Swarm.
Finish without a
Piercing.
between heaven and earth.
I owe you one for that.
I'll bring you back from death to bliss.
Pieces. Attack time.
Raging sword. All right. It's showtime.
Not done yet. Dragon Swarm.
Like astral magic is there. I owe you, Tion.
Healing is what my art can best.
All mine can do is cause havoc and destruction.
Anything in armor is all mine. Flaming meteor. Lion Cowl.
Explosion.
Round and pound.
Look sharp. I'll bring you back from death.
I'll take you all on. Ha! Flare Demolitor. Denied.
Back from death to bliss.
The flame inside me yearns to be let free.
Here, let me help.
That's gonna smart.
With my art can sloppy.
Stay away from my friend.
That'll bring you down.
A chain between heaven and earth.
This ends
Bring
now.
you back from death to bliss.
Dragon Swarm.
Feel. Resuscitation.
Burn in hell.
This will come in handy.
Dragon
I'm
Swarm.
going to-
It looks like we made a mess. Dragon Swarm.
Hurricane
No. Can't end here.
I'll bring you back from
Armor
death to
won't
bliss.
save you.
Divine safety.
Hurricane strike.
Not done yet. Dragon Swarm. Here, drop. Can't move.
Don't leave
Take
me.
this.
Wind astral energy. Lightning condense.
I'll bring you back from death to bliss.
Illuminate. Shazam! Resuscitate.
I don't feel like my usual self. Are you alright?
Let me handle this one.
So sorry to disappoint you.
Dragon Swarm.
Illuminate the resurrection! Lunar corruption! Gemini
I won't give up.
Generate the pieces. Attack time. Dragon.
A new lease on life. I'll bring you back from death to bliss.
Air thrust!
Here, let me help.
You require a hand.
In a bind.
I'm
Dragon Swarm.
Sorry. Lunar blast!
Anything in armor is all mine.
Spray!
No. can't end here!
That move!
Here comes the big one!
Bring you down. I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
Dragon form!
Radiant blood! Look sharp! Raging storm! Celestial hammer! Razor Inferno crossing!
You require a hand.
In a vine? Here, let me help. Hurricane strike! First aid! Lightning strike!
Shattering the
Searing
Attack time!
Hurricane strike! Flare tornado! Lightning orb! Light astral energy! Illuminate the dark! Come forth!
Not today! Dragon take this!
How about this? Inferno crossing! This one's mine! Nothing gets by me! What the? I can feel the medicine working. I'll bring you back from death.
In a vine?
I let my guard
I'll
down.
bring you back from death's abyss. With astral energy! Raging cascade! Here's a healing. They're not playing
Not
around.
done yet.
Don't mind if I do.
Dragon form!
Searing flame!
We've got him on the run!
Don't get cocky.
Right. Still anyone's fight.
What's asleep now?
You! Stay away from my friend!
Thunder field! I can feel the medicine working. Here!
Stop!
Damn it! Out of ammo! Wind
Anything in armor is all mine! I can carve through armor!
Ready to go.
I hope this medicine works.
The earth throbbing in pain.
Thunderblade! Magic
Transform!
Holy
This
Land!
one's all mine! Burn it down!
Can't be happening!
Ready and ready!
Divine Savior!
Now you see what I can do!
A new lease on life! Sparkling stars of light!
Dragon
Radiant Here's the evil!
Is this it?
Freeze Lancer!
An outstanding.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss!
I'm ready to go.
Resuscitation! Searing flame!
Not done yet!
Hurricane
Dragon
strike!
form!
Magic advance! Lightning strike! I won't give up! Here I come! I hope this medicine works this time.
Take this!
Lightning strike! Here, let me help. Wind astral energy! Got it!
Now you see what I can
Now's
do!
our chance! Hey, one at a time! Here's an air thrust! A chain between
Tiger Flare! So now you're getting serious?
Leave the Here's the evil! It's about to strike!
One's all mine! Look sharp, everyone! Dragon form!
Idiot! Get down!
I'm gonna need more of that.
One more time!
Dragon form! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Will this help?
In a vine?
Look sharp! All right.
Can't move!
Going in.
Need to pull them up.
They got us cornered.
You're not finished quite yet.
You're right. We can still turn this around.
Not done yet!
Let me at him.
Gemini Aqua!
I'm gonna need more of that then.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss. This one.
Mine.
This should do
Will
it!
this help? I've still got some fight
Dragon form!
Photon
Here's a healing arc. How about this? Take this! Now see what I can do!
A chain between heaven and earth. Hear my call. Away with the lightning.
Not like this!
Let me show you what my art can do. Rise and shine. Waterfall. Sleep now. Resurrection. Get out of there with the others. I'll bring you back from the enemy is going all out.
Yours to be let free.
Between heaven and
Ignite.
earth. Resuscitation. A wailing dancing of lightning.
Dragon Swarm! You may be strong. Is this it?
You made me angry. That was a bad idea. Look! I'll stop your movement.
And I'll stop your life!
Puh, das hat uns alles gekostet. Mann, Mann, Mann.
What's a letter doing in a place like this?
Hell if I know. I highly doubt that Zoogle was trying to guard it. Still, somebody must have left it for some... Law.
Huh? What's up?
Something up?
It's from my old man. My dear son, I wonder how things will be between us by the time you read this.
In any case, I first want to congratulate you on all that you've accomplished. Making it this far requires a strong body, fine technique, an unwavering spirit, and most of all, friends that you can count on. If you have all of that, then I, as your father, have nothing to worry about. Those things together will always keep you on the right path. That brings me to what I really wish to discuss with you. As with all of us, there will someday come a time when you'll be a grown man who can and must think and act for himself. Whether you'll live in a world where blood will no longer be spilled between Danins and Renans, or when that day arrives, nobody can say. But even if peace still eludes us then, you'll have to decide how to live in this world. Listen to others with an open heart, but don't be swept away by their words. Always live on your terms. One more thing. If I ever see you again, I hope to say this to you in person, but neither of us knows what tomorrow may bring. Know this. Whatever you think of me, and what I've done, your mother and I love you very, very much.
And there's nothing in this whole world that will ever change that. Your father, Zephyr.
Zephyr.
I can't believe he's only telling me all this after he's gone. What am I supposed to do with this?
Zephyr once told me that living freely meant being your own master. I think he wanted to make sure you know how he felt one way or another. What you do with that knowledge is up to you.
But that still doesn't explain why his father left that letter for him here, of all places.
Don't forget, we were led to this place. We may well get some answers if we go back to the source of all this.
Hey.
Hey. I guess... No way. Damn.
Whew. All right.
This is... Thanks.
kp weniger. Ja, okay, nehme ich.
You okay, Law? You seem kind of quiet.
I'm fine. Just feels a little weird returning home now that my dad's not here, I guess. Oh man, sorry. I didn't mean to bum you out too.
So I guess that means you'll be visiting your dad's grave while you're here. Right, Law?
His grave? What are you, nuts? There is no grave. The Rena would only destroy it the moment they found it.
Back before Calaglia was liberated, dead slaves would be dumped in mass burial sites. Either that or thrown on top of a bonfire. We got used to cremating our own to deny them the pleasure. Then we'd sprinkle the ashes from high up as a way of returning them to the motherland.
It's all we could do. That's the ceremony we had when my mom died, too.
But that was back then, right? Calaglia is liberated now. There's nothing to stop you from raising a true grave anymore.
I suppose you've got a point. Once you've been doing something for generations, though, it sort of begins to take root. It's a tradition of its own now.
My dad wouldn't want that anyway. Cheap and simple, he'd say. Besides, I can't treat him differently than my mom. They might not end up meeting on the other side.
I hadn't thought of it like that. Wow, imagine. The two of them reunited. Back home where they belong. They're probably watching over us right now. At one with great Dana. There's something almost poetic about it.
That's why I can't afford to screw up. If I know my pops, something as paltry as death won't stop him from coming to box my ears. Still, better than being left alone, I guess. Better than never knowing. You hear that, Dad? I'll make you proud. You'll see.
Looks like we get to sleep with a roof over our heads.
You can never be too prepared. But did we have to spend so much?
Jo. Nochmal gucken. Ja, es sieht so aus, als hätten wir dann nur noch die Quest, die ich vorher schon hatte, bis auf die eine, was auch bedeutet mit den Waffen, dass wir in Rena, bevor wir zum Endbosskampf kommen, dort noch ein Monster haben, die Items droppen, die wir brauchen. Geld werde ich allerdings auch brauchen. Ja, aber viele Informationen, viel geschehen, noch ein bisschen was zu tun. Ja, vor allem grinden nochmal, FP sammeln. Und dadurch, dass es ja noch wenigstens 3 Eulen gibt, werde ich diese zumindest offscreen suchen, ein bisschen grinden, XP machen. Sofern möglich noch Waffen, die kaufbar sind, jetzt schon holen, damit das andere ein bisschen leichter wird. Und dann würde ich sagen, wir sehen uns dann in der nächsten Folge wieder, wo eventuell wir eine dieser anderen Aufgaben noch angehen, außer die Eulenquest. Sonst bedanke ich mich fürs Zuschauen und wir sehen uns beim nächsten Mal. Bye!